Kia ora everyone, we come to you from the Export Beer Garden studios for the ACC. This is the Benchwarmers. We're in the final week of the NBA regular season. Just 6 days left as we record this podcast, and we're keeping you regular like a high-fiber diet with our usual basketball thoughts from wildly unqualified people to be doing so. My name is Ben, leading the podcast team that I think by now we're deliberately tanking to get Victor Wembanyama. Joining me is the man, the only guy, the last man standing at the moment in the podcast team. Pretty sure he just turns up to work to eat the free promotional food. It's Joe Harrison.
Good to be here. Yeah, speaking of free promotional food, I got through a few steak Sammys for free the other day at the ACC cricket match as well. So
you did. So you ate, because we often have a joke around the office in the mornings that you love to eat. You're at that age, you eat a lot, you're a growing lad. But you ate, there were steak sandwiches at the cricket that you said you had. How many of those?
Oh, we'll call it 3.
We'll call it 3, so probably more. But then you said to me what you had for lunch beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Same day.
A foot long from Subway and a 6-inch as well.
So you had 18 inches of bread.
Plus 4 pieces of toast.
Too many inches. Plus all that.
A lot of fibre.
So look, toast in the morning. Talk me through it. Toast?
In the morning.
Yeah, so 4 pieces of toast in the morning.
Yeah. So 18 inches of Subway. Yeah,
now
Subway.
there's a lot of jokes we could make around that, but we're better than that, all right? So let's not go there. So 18 inches.
Couple steak Sammys, and then just to finish off, I was a bit hungry. Had a couple beers, so I went and had some KFC as well.
Did you? No burgers?
No burgers,
okay.
Just chips and popcorn chicken.
Well, geez. You're pretty impressive. I don't know where it all goes. Now, this week on social media, I love NBA social media, there was a little thing going around to do with a Kiwi NBA star, Steven Adams, and the realization for many people that he's only 29. Like, he seems like he seems so much older. Like, when he first came into the NBA, he was sort of clean shaven. He was only pretty young. But I feel like he's looked about 35 for about the last 10 years for some reason.
I guess we talked about this last time as well. Giannis, he was in the same draft class, and he's also just recently played the most games ever for a Bucks person. So maybe they're getting old.
You realise I think you had this the other day. Now, I get this a wee bit more, where you get to you meet someone who's like a cop or a teacher, and you're like, oh my God, I'm older than you. Like, but you had it. I can't remember who you were saying the other day, and you're only, 23?
20, yeah. I'm 22, but then like in the NBA at the moment, it's like even Tyrese Maxey, he's 21 or something. And I was like, all LeBron James' son's like 18, 15. It's a slippery slope from here.
It is a slippery slope. Next thing you'll be me. But Steve Adams this week, modelling a Hawaiian shirt, I thought was pretty cool. They were giving these away during the game, and they had Hawaiian shirts with his face on it.
Steven Adams modeling the Steven Adams Hawaiian shirt. That was a giveaway tonight. It's got the Grizzlies logo. I mean, look, it's got the little Steven Adams profile on there.
Pretty cool.
Do you reckon a lot of people who watch the NBA think Steven Adams is Hawaiian? Probably similar to like Jason Momoa.
Maybe. You might be right, actually. He doesn't lift weights. There was Paul George was on a podcast during the week. Well, he said he's one of these dudes who's just naturally strong. So maybe he does lift weights, but he just seems like he is just a beast. Paul George said on a podcast during the week, if you get hit by Steven Adams, your bell is rung. One of those dudes who just doesn't lift weights. He's just naturally strong.
Yeah, even last week when we were talking to the big baller, he was like, look, I'm physical, but Steven Adams, obviously LeVar would still take Steven Adams, but he was like, this guy could almost take me.
If you actually want to feel insecure about yourself, like you said before, LeBron's son, Bronny James, obviously very young, dunking over his brother, though. That happened during the week, and they had like a McDonald's All-Star dunk competition. Just 15 years old, Bryce is. And he's 6 points. What, 6'6"?
He's 6'6", yeah. So he was the one getting dunked over the top of.
Yeah.
And then Bronny's 6'5" or something. But like those dunks, I think I'm about 6'5", 6'6". I can only just touch the rim. And he was like jumping over his younger brother. It was pretty crazy.
Now, I don't want to start the podcast this week before we get into the starting five on a negative note. But last week we were like, guys, you need to do this TAB bet. You need to place a bet on. And so you and I decided we'd put some money on Pat Bev. He was playing for Chicago against the Lakers, bit of a grudge game. And we were like, well, maybe he'll score more than 9 points. And it was quite a handy bet. We had $100 on it. It was for our Christmas party, right?
Yeah, we put $100 on, and he scored 10 points as well. And we were meshing the chat like, we've done it.
We're done.
Betting masterminds.
$197. Well, $97 is what profit would have been coming back,
Casino will go triple it, put it on black.
Yeah. And then they were like, oh, no, we didn't put the bet on, even though we came out and said, so who dropped the ball on that one?
Yeah, I think we'll go with producer Adam. We'll call.
Okay.
I'm just thinking.
I wasn't going to name any names, so that was definitely Joel naming names.
Oh, it was probably actually you. I'll take the blame. Sorry, guys, that was me. But if you did listen to our podcast and put the bet, congratulations.
Yeah, now we're going to get to our bet very shortly. In fact, we'll get to it as part of the starting five. So let's get into it.
This is the starting five for the Benchwarmers.
Y'all ready for this? It is the last week, as I said before, of the regular season. Every game counts. For a lot of teams, every game counts, and for other teams, the games don't count. They've already made the playoffs and they're resting players. So it's quite a confusing time where some teams are desperate to win. Other teams are like, hey, we just want to conserve some players for the playoffs just around the corners. So there's been some unusual games this week. The Celtics beat the Bucks by heaps.
Yeah.
Which was really surprising.
It was like the first quarter was all even as well, and then it was just a complete blowout. I think a lot of Celtics fans are feeling happy after that one.
KD's back at just the right time. We'll talk more about LeBron. He's back as well, but we're heading towards the finals. I'm going to say to you, Joel Harrison, if you had to put money on one team, your life depended on it. This is not the TAB bet, but this is your life depending on it. To take it all, who are you putting money on?
Oh, it's actually so tough because you're looking at the Western Conference and the Nuggets are still at the top there. The Grizzlies close second, and then you got the Bucks, Celtics, and the 76ers. And honestly,
any of those teams could win on their day on this series, right?
I'm going to give you credit for this one as well because at the start of the year we said who do you think's going to win, and you did say the Bucks. And Storm, who used to be on the podcast, said the Lakers. I said the Heat. So our 2-1s haven't gone well, but yours is looking good. And I'll probably back you up. I reckon at the moment, the Bucks are a team to beat. Yourself?
Well, it is a struggle. I mean, for some reason, the Nuggets have been like one of the best teams of the year, but I don't know what it is about the Nuggets. I mean, obviously the Joker's amazing, but I just don't know sometimes if I trust them outside of Jamal Murray. They've got some great players, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't feel because they haven't been there before and done that. So
yeah, well, I guess every team has to get there and do it somehow. But yeah, I think if they play well at home like they have been doing all season, they should be able to move their way up the ranks and at least get to the conference finals. And yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one.
Let's make our bet this week. That's because the West is, and to quote Will Smith, it's the wild, wild West.
Yeah.
At the moment. Now, a lot of teams could get through from the West. Some may miss out. We'll get to the Mavs in a bit later because the Mavs season's falling apart. But okay, let's put our $100 bet on for the outright winner of the West.
So the Western Conference?
The Western Conference. Now you got the Suns at the moment. They're paying about $3. Nuggets are paying. So the Suns are more of a favourite. I thought was interesting at TAB than the Nuggets, $3.75. But then you could go wider. You got the Warriors. You got the Grizzlies. You got the Clippers, Lakers, Kings.
Thunder?
As well, yeah, the Thunder. Yeah, the Thunder. They're paying $276. That would be one hell of a Christmas party if we put $100 on them. So what do you reckon? Do we want to go like a sure thing? Well, not a sure thing, but more of a sure thing, like the Suns or the Nuggets.
Well, so how much are this Nuggets paying? Did you say $6?
They're $3.75 for the Nuggets. Yeah, well, not a bad bet. Or do you want to go? Hey, maybe the Warriors will get it together because they've got that experience, or maybe. Dare I say it, the Lakers or the Clippers could come through, or the Grizzlies. So what are we going to do? When are we go back?
How about we'll go countdown 3, 2, 1, and we'll at the same time we'll say who we think we're going to do it. Right?
So is this the team that we? Well, I know.
Well, we just put the money. Look.
Okay, so we're going to put some money on a team.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Warriors.
Nuggets. Whoa. Okay.
I wasn't thinking Warriors beforehand. No,
the One New Zealand Warriors.
One New Zealand.
The NRL.
That's all, okay. The NRL. No, actually. But now I'm thinking Suns for some reason.
Well, how much are the Warriors paying?
Warriors are paying only $4.50. Where they haven't really, because they've been terrible on the road. They've been great at home. And Wiggins has been dealing with some personal issues with his family, which sounds quite sad that his dad's going through some stuff. So, is he going to be back in time?
I think I saw someone that he's going to be back. But.
Look,
the Nuggets they've been the pick.
Let's back you. Let's back you in. This is your pick this week. Let's go the Nuggets to win the Western Conference.
All right, we'll go, and then if we win that back, we'll get $375 return.
Okay, that is our TAB bet for the week right now. The Nuggets taking out the Western Conference. LeBron James is back. I'm pretty stoked about that for the Lakers. He came back from that foot injury, and he went and saw what he quoted as you have a listen.
Did anyone ever suggest surgery?
Yeah, 2 doctors.
Why did you decide against it?
Because I went to LeBron James of feet, and he told me I shouldn't.
He saw LeBron James' feet. I heard on another podcast this week going off, who's the Michael Jordan feet? Wouldn't they be better to go? And I was like, oh, harsh to LeBron. But it's great to see him back as well, because maybe, other people, well, obviously, as he said before, other people thought he should have a season-ending surgery.
Yep.
So he's back for the Lakers. Anthony Davis is back, but LeBron won't pay for the blue tick this week, which was some news you sent through to me, because I love LeBron, and I even love the fact that he's a billionaire, but he's super tight.
Yeah, I feel like I'm sure someone in his team or one of his endorsements will pay for that blue tick, or even Twitter will probably just pay for the blue tick, because they're like, we need LeBron on Twitter to keep it rolling. But it's an interesting one.
$8 a month, right, for that?
$8 a month, man.
And he's a billionaire, but he won't pay for Spotify or Pandora. He won't pay for the one without the ads. So apparently, when he blasts the music out of a portable speaker in the changing room, you have the ads that come up over the top as well from LeBron James.
It's punishing.
You came up with a great line during the week to do with the Warriors, the league team, right? Sean Johnson, one of our favourite players. You called him.
They're calling him daylight saving. He loves winding the clock back.
Can I also call LeBron James daylight saving as well? I was thinking, to shoehorn that into the NBA podcast. Do you think?
I feel like you kind of.
Well, he's never. But
he's never really not looked like this though. So
he's kind of kept the clock consistent to that stage.
The reason why it works with someone like Sean Johnson, no disrespect to him at all, he had a couple seasons where he was not looking how he used to look as well. And then now he's resurging now, and that's why you call it, because he's winding the clock back to what he used to be. But
right, so LeBron James
never
is
really
keeping the clock on time.
The clock, I feel like maybe you could use that for someone like when Klay Thompson has a good game, someone like that. I don't know.
Okay, all right. LeBron James, 53 million Twitter followers, 70,000 likes on the first hour of that post saying you wouldn't pay for a blue tick. MVP race this week, it seems to be coming down between Embiid and Joker. Who do you reckon? Who's going to take that out?
Oh, well, I really hope, I've said it many times before, I hope Jokic gets it. I hope the Joker pulls through there, but I don't know. It's looking like Embiid is playing well. I saw a stat this week as well, bit of an early stat bunker here, but apparently it's no one has ever won MVP and missed as many games in a season as Joel Embiid has. He has missed 14, 15 games.
They missed one the other day during the week because the 76ers were playing, of course, against the Nuggets, and he hasn't played there. He hasn't played in Denver for like 4 years.
And all the Denver fans trolling him big time.
They had like missing person signs,
which is great. You love to see it, but
which is pretty cool. So okay. So you're thinking who for MVP?
I'll say Jokic.
Okay, all right. I'll go and beat just to make it different. So we got some banter about it. Well, one of the games actually was quite funny. I went to in the States over Christmas. There was a guy sitting in front of us, and he was kind of like G Lane from the ACC. He would like try to spark up chants.
Yeah.
But sometimes when people don't join in the chant, you have that awkward moment when you sort of like trail off. He started one, I think it was for Klay Thompson MVP. He was like MVP, and there was MVP. As you lose confidence in a chant as well. It's a lonely moment for the poor guy.
Often when you've had a few drinks, like a sporting game, I know I've done this at a Warriors game and stuff before, you feel a lot more confident than you actually are. And I feel like you're kind of oblivious to the people sitting around you. You're just like, how good did that sound?
This is going to take off, this chart. I was like, the poor guy. The other one he did as well, there was the dancers for the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors team. And he was like, at the end of the dance, he was like clapping way too loud. And then he realized he was clapping quite loud. He was the only one really, celebrating the dancers. And
I think he might have had a few Bud Lights by the sound of it.
He might have. Damian Lillard shut down for the season. That's one of the other big news stories of the week. Dame, I love Dame. Dame Dollar, he's great. But is it time for Dame time to leave Portland?
It's a tough one because you go back to the example here of like the New Zealand Warriors for league as well. But I feel like it would be so much sweeter if he did get victory in Portland after all the criticism of the last few years and just, I feel like he wants to win a title in Portland, but I feel like he should go somewhere like the Knicks. The Knicks is a team a lot of people have been suggesting as well, but he would work well there.
Oh, well, I was looking today on the top attractions to do in Portland, just to think if you're trying to keep Damian Lillard in the city, and this is it, without a word of a lie, this is on TripAdvisor. The number one thing to do, the International Rose Garden. Number 2 thing to do, the Portland Japanese Garden. The number 3 is a Chinese garden. The number 4 is a mansion. Number 5 is another garden. Number 6 another garden. Number 7's in the valley. Number 8's a park. Then you get to the zoo. I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, if he's not into gardens, get the hell out of Portland.
Maybe he's a big gardener. Old Dame Dollar.
Yeah, so I was like, well, Paul, if that guy has to contend with that all the time,
Yeah.
I mean, he can't go like you like to go, like Ja Morant likes to go to the clubs, you know. So get him out of there as well. So it's awesome that he's loyal.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he said it's not all about the championships, it's about being loyal to the city. But I feel bad for him, even when McCollum has gone off as well, and obviously the Pelicans looking good. You kind of feel like Dame's kind of sort of been left behind. So pretty sad, that one. But let's head to the second point of today's starting 5. It's to do with the Breakers and the New Zealand basketball team. Well, it was mentioned and kind of on a podcast with Storm. Give you a backstory. Storm used to work here on the Benchwarmers, started the season with us. We didn't trade him. He asked for a trade. He went to another station, My FM, and in all seriousness, we're stoked for him. It's awesome for him. But just to keep up this narrative on the podcast, he's a snake.
Yeah.
He's chasing titles, and we hate him.
He actually sent through some audio of I saw him last week, and he's like, "Oh, play this out on the podcast. This is him talking."
Yeah, the snake that he is. And so he had LeVar Ball. We had LeVar Ball on the podcast. We had like a deep dive on LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
Outspoken father of Alonzo, LaMelo Ball. You know, he was over in the country. He had a whole podcast last week. You haven't checked it out. You should do. And we had 45 minutes and we didn't get the scoop like My FM got the scoop. Have a listen.
Big baller finna hit you with this. My son, this ain't even heard of in the States. My son, LeAngelo Ball, wants to play for the New Zealand Breakers.
Yeah, so he's saying LeAngelo Ball wants to play for the New Zealand Breakers. So well done to them getting the scoop as well. What do you think, Jello, for the Breakers? I mean, I kind of dig it.
I'm loving it.
I think it's cool. Like I know a few people have been out and about saying some stuff online, but everyone loves to say negative stuff online. That's just about. I was reading an article before on the old TV show, and I was like, they popped up on something. I'm like, oh, that made me sad.
Yeah.
That was a review. But I think it's you look at players that have thrived in the basketball, the NBL, and it's players like Jarrell Brantley, who's on the cusp of the NBA now, playing for the Jazz. And Jello's been there or thereabouts for a number of years, right?
Yeah, I feel like the NBL, it's a win-win for everyone involved because just getting more big-name players and getting more hype and attraction around the NBL is a great thing for New Zealand and Australia. But also, like, it's clear that it's quite a competitive league. Like, LaMelo, he came over, he was a good player there. He wasn't even the best player. He wasn't even the MVP.
No, he's pretty young, right?
Yeah, pretty young. And there's a lot of tough guys there, like tough Aussie forwards, good shooting guards, good players from over in America and stuff. So I reckon it's going to be good for all parties involved if he comes over.
Yeah, so obviously we will follow that there very, very closely as well to see if he makes it over there as well. The Breakers did also a April Fool's post. I don't know if you saw that. Abercrombie going to the Shanghai Sharks was what they said. Did it fool anyone? I don't know. There's a few mock-up ones on April Fool's Day. That Breakers social has been, pretty out there, pretty good.
There's nothing worse than on April Fool's. I saw this so many times when like people just commenting like, "Oh, good April Fool's gag at the top." It's like you don't comment there. You just see it, you like it, and you let the unknown for people to realize and work it out themselves.
Yeah, you're right. That's the problem, mate. Because as soon as you see something, you're like, "Oh, could this be true?"
Yeah.
And then you scroll on down, and you're like, they see everyone go, "April Fools, April Fools, April Fools." I feel sorry for the other news story, the legit news stories on that day, because everyone's like, "Oh, April Fools, whatever." Reese Witherspoon broke up with her husband. Oh, April Fool. No, that's legit. I feel bad about that. Those sort of stories you feel bad about.
You got to feel bad for the Shanghai Sharks as well. I don't even know if it's a real team or not. But
I think it is, but they often get bandied about on NBA, social media. They're like, "Oh, he's off to the Shanghai Sharks." So great marketing for them. Let's get into the third point on today's starting 5, and it's to do with social media. Now, there's a lot of social media comments around. NBA fans are passionate, but often go too far. I think they do forget that athletes, even though they've got their billions of dollars, they have got feelings as well. And former New Zealand breaker RJ Hampton, playing in the NBA right now, he's one of the people to admit that he has a burner account to defend himself on social media, like just to kind of defend himself, which,
Yeah, it's quite funny because when he was over in New Zealand playing for the Breakers as well, I actually saw him in town in an alleyway in Auckland. and he was walking with his bodyguard. I went up to say hi and asked for a photo. His bodyguard was pretty much like, "Don't talk to these weirdos. They're way too drunk."
Oh, you were way too drunk.
Yeah, he was like didn't even say hi.
Really?
Didn't even say hi. I was like, "Oh, no dramas." But I was like, he was massive, tall. But yeah, it's kind of sad if he's going to defend himself on comments and stuff.
Jono had to do that once. Well, he didn't have to do that. He decided to do that on an article we got written about us. Another one is probably that review I was reading before, and there was bad comments underneath, and he went under an alias, and he thought he'd turned the tide by saying, "Oh, those guys, they're not that bad. They do not too bad." And everyone just piled on and goes, "Shut up, mate. What do you know?" So he got bullied even more on a bullying article. My mum will sometimes pop up on things too, trying to defend me. I'm like, "Mum, just let it go."
You can't win. You can't win.
You can't win. Just, I thought, but then, she'll try and compliment me on something like the article will be like, "Your TV show was terrible," and she'll go, "Well, I thought they looked lovely." I was like, "Well, great,"
It's like even the Benchwarmers. Look, we don't have the biggest fan base in New Zealand, but you see sometimes you put a post up and someone will comment in the ACC thing like, "These guys don't know shit about ball." It's like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, we don't.
We're not claiming to be expert guys. Come on.
We're not trying to compete with the Ringer because they obviously know what they're talking about. Bill Simmons knows what he's talking about. We don't. We just have a lot of fun. We're a fan podcast. But someone who's not having a lot of fun to do with trolling, and to do with media, is Charles Barkley and Kevin Durant. Now, they've had a bit of beef for a while. It's kicking off again at the moment. And they got into a wee bit of a debate this week where Durant was saying he's getting tired of Chuck saying he was too sensitive. He would never respect the words that come out of his mouth. So it's obviously a bit of beef. And I love this moment. This was from, I think, a year or two ago where Charles Barkley was trying to interview Kevin Durant and he gave him nothing.
There was talk about you coming back for the playoffs last year. So you really just been working on your game, trying to get back your timing and conditioning, really, to be honest, correct?
Yeah.
And so he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it. But I guess fair enough. If you're gonna go out there and not mock, but criticize someone and they get offended by it, maybe they don't have to give you a great sound bite. But Barkley got into a different debate this week with Ernie, a much lighter debate on a podcast. Have we got this?
Does a straw have two holes or one hole?
It's got two. Oh, no, it's just one continuous hole.
Somebody asked me, is a hot dog a sandwich?
No, it's a hot dog.
Okay, so that's kind of the straw question. That's my answer right there. Those are one of those things you're like, oh, that's an interesting question.
No, this is perfect for our sort of podcast. This is the sort of stuff that we do. Like, stay in your lane, Barkley. This is the stuff we do that doesn't matter about anything right now. They can get into analytics and all sorts of stuff, but this is for us. Okay, straw, two holes or one continuous hole?
I'll go one.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it is one continuous hole, but it gives the appearance of two holes.
True.
And a hot dog is a sandwich? I'm going to say no, it's not a sandwich.
Hot dog's definitely not a sandwich. Obviously, Americans have a different idea of what a sandwich is, though, compared to New Zealanders. But what about this? If you say there's one hole in a straw, does that mean there's one hole in a human body as well?
Oh.
Maybe not.
Because they connect. I guess. Harrison, you've just blown my mind on that one. Because by that same rationale, the connection of the hole from your mouth to your butt.
Here's another one for you.
Yeah, that's good.
Salmon. Is it seafood? Freshwater salmon. Is it seafood?
It's seafood. Oh, because it's freshwater.
It's freshwater. It's not in the sea, not in the ocean.
Oh, okay. Well, if anyone's listening to this one, message us on the at the Benchwarmers on the ACC and tell us what we'll do. We'll put a poll up as well because that's salmon. Is it salmon? Okay, I feel like it's.
Someone's like, oh well, there is salmon that live in salt water. It was like, well, most of the salmon doesn't. So
yeah, okay, all right, there we go.
Is it seawater?
It's a big question for you. Another big question I want to ask this week. Fourth point of the starting five. What the hell is going on now? There's a few things this week that's made me think, what the hell's going on in the NBA? Russell Westbrook had a 36-point game, which I thought was awesome after the seasons he's had. So that's great to see. But the Kings. Let's talk about the Kings. Light the beam. The Kings have clinched a playoff spot in 2023. They've snapped the longest postseason drought of any US pro team, 16 years. So
that's awesome.
If those losers can do it, then us, the Benchwarmers, we can do it. I don't mean losers now. I mean the fact they've lost many times, but it's awesome for the Kings.
It gives me hope as a New Zealand Warriors fan that we're going to go all the way this year and win as well.
Yeah.
Or might go, is that too much?
No, you can say it. You can say it.
I think a lot of people criticised the Kings last year when they traded Sabonis for Halliburton, but it seems like it worked out so well. And obviously Halliburton's a great player and a big loss, but the fit for their team was clearly they needed someone like Sabonis. So that was definitely one of the biggest trade wins of the year.
Last time they were in the playoffs, the Kings, Apple hadn't released its iPhone 5. So that's how long ago. Rookie Keegan Murray was 5 years old, and Joel, you're a virgin, still a virgin now. So, so as well.
I was 6 years old, so hopefully.
Oh, that's good. Why do we take that? Oh, okay, made it make that weird,
Come on,
mate.
Boyce, mate.
There was just meant to be a gag at your expense about being a virgin now, and it's got weird all of a sudden. Okay, moving on. The Mavs. Now, the Mavs. Let's talk about the Mavs. The Mavs were a top 4 team in the West.
Yeah.
Now they might not even get it into the play-in spot. Now it's crazy after they made a move. They traded for Kyrie, and I thought, well, kind of good on them. And Kyrie's been really good, but overall, it feels like they were better when they had Dinwiddie, they had Finney Smith, of course, the Brunson burner.
Yeah.
Jalen Brunson, a year or two ago, they had him, but he had 48 points this week and leading the Knicks. So Kyrie this week described it as, I think we got this audio.
Season and where other teams are positioned already, it kind of looks like, a bit of a right now, to be honest with you, because
he described it as the cluster. Which is a good way to describe it. I mean, Kyrie and Luka together, I think 4-10 or something together. The worst record by teammates who've both made all-star teams.
Yeah, there was like one game where they both got over 40 points. I thought was awesome, but then I remember when we were talking about the trades as soon as it happened, I was like, I think the Mavs could go all the way this year. There's definitely audio somewhere back in the archives. Definitely won't be pulling it because it was completely wrong. But far out. I don't know what's happening there.
One of 6 or one of 7 in like the last 7.
It's abysmal. Like not even the play-in.
What do you do? I mean, do you blow it up? Do you, like at the end of the year? If they don't make the play-in, you've got to blow it up. But Luka's gone from being, one of the top players in the league. Kyrie's awesome, but for putting those two together and to have it fail, it's pretty disappointing. They've gone in February. How's this for a stat? No, you like your stats. February, 96% chance of making the playoffs. April, 6%.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, eh?
It's pretty bad. Bill Simmons, who I bang on about, I feel like we just should replay Bill Simmons' podcast on our podcast. It'd probably go a lot better. But he was saying he reckons LeBron, Draymond ending up with Luka and Kyrie on the Mavs.
Yeah.
Which would give it quite a good fit around that team.
Yeah.
Because they need something going on at the moment because it's not quite working.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year. But I feel like this is a write-off season unless they have a miracle run. But I was shell-shocked. I thought they were going to do great. That's how much I know about basketball.
Well, Kyrie Irving as well, just before we move on with that, I don't know if you saw that, we're given a lot of lip service to Dylan Brooks, one of the most entertaining players at the moment, just because he just riles everyone up. He annoys everyone. And he swapped jerseys, went to swap jerseys with Kyrie. Did you see that? And Kyrie gave him his jersey, but didn't actually take his jersey at the end of the game.
That's a humiliator.
Just at least take it.
I know. It's sort of like, I don't know what was said on and off the court, but you like to... You kind of like, you drop these things on the court moments and off the court, just let it be.
Yeah.
But Kyrie, mate, he's a different beast.
I don't want to take your jersey right now. I had the same thing happen. My dad reminds me of the great Sir Richard Hadley was one of, as a kid growing up, I was like, Sir Richard Hadley's awesome.
Yeah.
And I used to take an autograph book around. My dad was like, oh, look, it's Dale Hadley. He also played cricket for New Zealand. Was a great cricketer. He brought me over and was like, here's Dale Hadley. Do you want to get an autograph? And apparently as a little boy, I went, oh, no, I want the real Hadley. He's like, savage. I think I was like 3 or 4 years old. So apologies to Dale Hadley.
Yeah, if you're listening.
I'm sure he's a big fan of the Benchwarmers. He was a great cricketer in his own right, and I didn't know what I was talking about. Finally, this week, as the final point, the movie Air is out at the moment. Now, that's the story of Nike creating Air Jordan, winning his signature. Spoiler alert, that's pretty much the plot to the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Well, everyone knows. I mean, yeah. But it's set in the 80s, and I thought it was, it's a real trip down nostalgia for people that, myself, for you, it's like, it's the olden days.
That takes me back, man. Did they even have coloured TV back then?
Ben Affleck what I loved is Ben Affleck's looking all retro. He's got the shades on. He's got sort of curly hair. Matt Damon just looks like Matt Damon. Like he looks like Matt Damon just walked in and he was like, oh, I'm ready to go. But it's amazing when they start because I saw the movie the other day. It's actually really cool. How Nike was not a basketball shoe. Like it was great for running, and Adidas and Converse were the big brands.
Yeah.
And how that is, they're still great brands, but how that's kind of changed. Like the Jordan has just become, is the thing that just launched it.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to the movie on Friday night, but my girlfriend got the complete times wrong, so but it was both of us, but it was a mishap. But I'd love to. I think sometime this week I'll try to go see it.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's very cool. And one thing I was listening again the other day to Matt Damon talking about to Ben Affleck, sorry, and they used to have, they're good mates. They used to have a joint bank account.
Really?
And growing up, they were together as mates, hanging out together in a flat, and they had a joint bank account, the two of them. They'll put money in. You could have money for video games. You could have money for beer.
Yeah.
And then if someone got a job, they put it back into, because they were like, we're both going to make it, or none of us are going to make it, which I thought was kind of cool. Do you have a joint bank account with Grace?
No, I don't, but should we join up and make a bank? You and I can jump on yours, that'd be cool, right?
Well, no, that's what the TAB account's for. That's our joint bank account.
I don't know if you want to get on my man. A lot of crippling debt.
Yeah, I know. I definitely don't want to join up with you. Also, basketball-related stuff this week. I thought it was kind of cool. Adam Sandler. Love Adam Sandler. He's got that great movie on Netflix about basketball as well. But he turned up to his premiere with Jennifer Aniston wearing a New York Knicks hoodie. And Jennifer Aniston from Friends. And she's one of the stars. She was like, you're on the red carpet, mate. What are you doing?
Oh, are you doing? I'm not standing next to him. I didn't do it. What? You said it. You texted me. I didn't. Please wear your sweatshirt. I said, please don't wear your sweatshirt. You said don't. Oh. Miscommunication. Anyway.
I love Adam Sandler. He just kind of dresses like we all dress, you know?
I was watching Grown Ups last night. It was a weird one, but I was watching Grown Ups, and it was like he always finds a way to fit basketball into movies, and it also finds a way to like get with a really hot wife and make himself look really good, hit the winning jump shot and stuff. I was like, fine, Adam, he's killed it. Fair enough.
That's what happens when you get to produce your own movies. All right, let's head to the stat bunker. Yeah, the stat bunker, just quickly on the stat bunker today, 253s each for the Splash Brothers this year. That's remarkable, eh?
Not bad.
And there was 3 50-point games in 2012 in the NBA. So three players got 50-point games. And there's been 23 this year.
That's good.
It's amazing how many points that have been scored as well. And finally for the stat marker this week, I thought was pretty impressive. With Julius Randle out this week, every All-Star from this season would have missed at least one game. Well, actually, it's actually not that impressive. I've said it was impressive, but it's not impressive. It kind of sucks. Second year in a row that All-Stars have missed at least one game. It hasn't happened since 2016. So it's always the way, especially now, as we said before, players heading into the postseason. Be nice to see players maybe playing.
Show a bit of commitment. You don't see.
Kobe said that, right? Didn't he?
Yeah, you don't see me missing a Benchwarmers episode like that.
No, well, that's probably right. Yeah, I mean, people's like, well, actually, next week we might not be here, but anyway.
Yeah, I'm not an all-star either by any stretch of the
just quickly,
imagination.
fantasy is wrapped up for me as well, and thank goodness because geez, it was taking a burden on my life.
What a punish!
I went from 4th in my league, and I think I ended up being 7th. I blew out in the playoffs. My tactic, I tried to play the waiver wire. I didn't have the best team, so I was trying to look at who was playing the most games, trying to change, doing lots of erratic moves. I was probably like Mark Cuban for the Mavs, and I was trading people in left, right, and centre. But I'm glad it's all over. But how are we going, the Benchwarmers?
Yeah, we'll get to that one next week, actually. I got no idea.
We really have checked out on that one as well, haven't we?
Yeah, far out. Producer Adam will be here next week, and he'll be giving you a deep dive update on how good we've been going.
Just quickly before we go, let's head to Ooopppsss.
It's the big alley. Ooh, it's not the one, It's not the one.
This was pretty incredible this week. This happened in a college game. The ball actually was shot and ended up sitting and staying still at the top of the hoop.
You know, they're a little like the Spurs in the NBA, the way they... Oh, we've got a sitter! Huh. Nobody move! We've been doing this a long time. How many have we seen of that?
Pretty incredible. What are the odds of that? Just sitting at the top of the hoop.
I know. I think this audio was actually also when we saw you walk into the toilet and as you're a trough cow, you didn't go to the cubicles. That someone's like... We got a sitter.
I have a sitter these days, less spillage on the floor. It's a lot more relaxing. I am a trough coward, as you say. If there's people at the urinal, I'm definitely not peeing next to them. Charles Barkley, the less said about what was Charles trying to say, the better. Now, we'll take the high road on this one, but obviously his mates at TNT, I think it is, they didn't, so we'll move on quickly.
When a guy's banging you, you spin off of him. Those are the worst defenders to play against, actually, because if you can feel their body, come on.
18 points for Joker, only Nugget in double figures. 69-59. Golden State shooting.
Come on. Yeah, come on. Ernie,
guys.
I'm with Ernie.
That's not the type of podcast we are.
Exactly. I know you're saying that it's low-hanging fruit for us to try to get on our podcast. Well, it's not going to work. Well, actually, no, it has worked, but we'll move on. LeBron James called for a travel, and I like this call from a commentator.
He very seldom call this. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Hey, buddy, did you bring a passport with you? Oh, my goodness.
I've been saying this for a long time, mate. Le travel.
Oh, don't. And finally this week, final alley-oops. Fultz from the Orlando Magic had one of his teammates come over at a post-match interview. Very, very excited. His teammates like, woo, hyping it up after he played well. And he told him off like a dad. Like, as a dad, I'm listening to this going, oh, I've used this voice before. Have a listen.
Serious, I guess. Don't get hurt now. Don't anybody get hurt. You see, we got a lot of kids on the team, so hey, go back, man. I'll come check on you later, okay?
Yeah, it's like we got a lot of kids on the team. Go back, I'll check on you later. And you see his teammate go from like, yay, to like, oh, okay, that was it.
The fun police on Michael Fultz, eh?
Oh, you know what it's like when you're a dad, you just want to get on the road. Mate. You don't want to stop. You said, you need to go. If you're not going to go for a pee, you go before the house. Once you're on the, get on the road. We've got to make some good time. Nothing like stopping. And that is the bench warmers for another week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Well done to all Dirk Nowitzki, Tony Parker, Paul Cassell, Dwayne Wade and Becky Hammond and Greg Popovich all getting into the 2013 Hall of Fame class. We will never make a Hall of Fame class, but we'll be back again next week with more basketball, chit-chat, and a whole lot more. It is the Bench Warmers on the ACC.
You say 2013.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck.
You're getting old, man.
This
You're getting old.
Geez, 2000. It couldn't even end the podcast on a bloody shocker. Oh, God.